watching Vince McMahon? Not my words, the words of Triple H to Vince McMahon's head of security, and the words of the Cardiff crowd on Saturday night. I don't know if Vince McMahon was watching, but I was, and this is NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff Graded. We are live in Cardiff. A lively crowd get us underway, as does Kiwi buzzsaw Travis Banks versus Noam Dar. This was a great match to start with, and what a great story this match was. You had Noam Dar, whose contract says he has to wrestle on takeover shows, and you had Travis Banks, who was just chomping at the bit to be on a takeover show. So the feud was to get on this show. What more can you do to make a show feel more important than something like that? Some great moments throughout this match. One of my favourites being as Travis Banks goes for the slice of heaven off the top rope. Noam Dar catches his leg, goes straight into a champagne super knee bar, which Nigel McGuinness attempts to sing in the style of its namesake, Champagne Supernova. I love Nigel as a commentator. He's probably the best in the world. I hope he doesn't sing again. That bit was questionable. The end came when Noam Dar, who'd spent the whole match just sort of wailing on the knee of Travis Banks, kicked his knee out from underneath him, hit the Nova Roller, 1, 2, 3. Big win for Noam Dar, and Travis once again on the losing end in a big time match. This gets a B+ from me. I really like this as a way to start the show. It was a really nice, simple match between two guys who just know each other very well, and it was just a nice way to warm the crowd up for what was going to be one heck of a ride tonight. Ilja Dragunov is out next. I like to say his name the way that Andy Shepherd does because it makes him sound like he's from Transylvania, not from Russia. Ilja Dragunov is out and he calls out Cesaro, the WWE boy who is paying a visit to NXT UK. Out comes Cesaro. The story of this match was Cesaro's face. He started off very much walking to the ring, very stoic, very much like, okay, I'll get this done and I'll get back to my Barabuth and get back to watching the show. But by the end of this match, he'd gone from surprised to shocked to startled to flabbergasted because Ilja Dragunov was a much tougher contestant than he thought he'd be. Dragunov somehow managed to find ways to counter big Cesaro moves, to kick out of some of his big power moves as well. The highlight of this match, though, was the swings, because that really brought the world to life in Cardiff when Cesaro managed to do what some think was 40 swings on Ilja Dragunov. Some probably counted 35, 36. I've seen some count like, oh, it was only about 25. It was still impressive to swing a man around like that, and it looked great. I do believe it's still a record for most swings in a WWE match from Cesaro. I'm sure if it's not, you'll tell me in the comments down there. That's fine. The finish comes when Dragunov manages to retaliate, to fight his way back into the match. But just as he goes for Torpedo Moscow, gets a blazing uppercut from Cesaro and gets hit with a neutralizer for the 1, 2, 3. After the match, we think that Cesaro is about to wipe out Dragunov, but instead goes for the handshake, goes for the embrace. So Dragunov didn't win, but wow, Cesaro made him just feel like a star in losing this match regardless. Gonna give this one an A. Great match. Didn't expect to see it. We all kind of took for granted that, oh, Chris, it's gonna be Cassius Ohno and Cesaro coming out and having a thing. Was not expecting Dragunov, was not expecting a match like that. NXT UK Tag Team Championship match up next. It's Grizzled young veterans defending against Gallus and the Welsh boys, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. And I tell you what, before the bell rang, Mark Andrews is a winner for NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff because his band Junior did one of the main soundtracks to the show. His band Junior do his theme music, all that royalty dosh. Nicely done. This match was superb. Every single team played their part perfectly. Grizzled young veterans Zach Gibson and James Drake just playing the spoilers all throughout this, getting right under the Cardiff crowd's skin. Gallus, who just played these bulldozers, who every so often would just take over the match and just lay waste to everybody. And then you've got Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster in front of their home country of Wales, put on the greatest match I think either man has ever had. Not a single step out of place. They were just perfect. Best match I've seen either of them in. And what was wonderful was McGuinness did his research because he's a great commentator. So we got to hear some of the amazing names for some of the finishing moves and signature moves of these wrestlers, including Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, who do this running knee poison Frankensteiner, which is called free toast after 3 a.m. There's a story there, I'm sure there is. The near falls in this match were electric, but nothing lit the crowd up like the moment Mark Andrews came off the top rope with his fall to pieces shooting star press onto Zach Gibson when he put Flash Morgan Webster over the top for the 1, 2, 3. That place blew up. We have new NXT UK Tag Team Champions, and it's the Welsh lads, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, the first ever WWE champions from Wales. Fun fact, this match easily gets an A+. Probably the best tag team championship match in any division I have seen in many years. Every single guy in this match knew their role and they just went for it. And the crowd brought this to life. Oh, this was phenomenal. A+, dead easy. We catch our breath and we go into last man standing between Dave Mastiff and Joe Coffey. I was so excited to watch these two units just clatter each other in Cardiff. And you know what? It went beyond my expectation of what they do. The clattering started in the entranceway. It was briefly in the ring. That ring action stopped when Mastiff threw Coffey into the corner and broke the ring. They broke the ring. Top rope came off and everything. So the majority of this match is contested around ringside using a litany of very British weapons. Is this the first time we've seen a snooker cue and a cricket bat used in a last man standing match? I think so. I saw some snooker balls on the floor. I'm pretty sure at one point Joe Coffey got dropped onto the floor and landed on a snooker ball, quite possibly. Several tables got smashed in this bit, but a particular highlight for me was when they were fighting in the crowd and they had this big long bit of aisleway in the crowd at the arena. They both had steel chairs and they basically went jousting with the chairs. Just ran at each other holding the chairs, knocked each other down. We saw Dave Mastiff shortly after this defy gravity, defy physics, defy expectations when Dave Mastiff, who's a big lad, did a Green Bay plunge onto Joe Coffey onto the announce table and the table didn't break. Unreal. They then took the fight up onto the stage where both men just battered each other so much they came crashing down off the stage. And just as they were climbing back to their feet, they looked like they were both going to beat the 10 count in this last man standing match. Then Joe Coffey kicked Mastiff's foot from underneath him. So Mastiff hit the deck and Coffey wins by shenanigans. But it was, oh my gosh, they needed to do something very different to what we had just seen. And I think to go from like a technical high spot 3-team match to this absolute carnage was a really, really strong gear change. It was, do you know what? It's a bit like if somebody gave you a hand grenade as an amuse-bouche. Best way to describe it. And you know what? I'm giving it an A as well. Just doling out the A's this time. This was great. A fun last man standing match with two guys who just clattered each other beyond belief. The Women's Championship match is on the line next as Toni Storm puts it on the line against Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray has rented an apartment in the head of Toni Storm. Will Toni Storm evict her or will Kaylee Ray buy it outright and build an extension and an ensuite? I don't know where really I was going with that. This felt very different to everything else on the show tonight, and it had to, because the way this had been set up was, it was just a grudge match. It was an emotional roller coaster for Toni Storm, whose best friend had turned on her. And we as fans, you and I, we complain when there's a grudge match that starts with a headlock or a grudge match that starts with a wrist lock. This was different. This was Kaylee Ray initially ducking and dodging away from Toni Storm. And every time Toni Storm got her hands on Kaylee Ray, just wailing on her with punches, just like smacking down on her like that. And I think the big story here was that Toni Storm was so emotionally wound up by Kaylee Ray that she was off her game. All she wanted to do was just punch her and kick her. And it meant that there was a few opportunities that she missed. There was a good bit when Toni Storm hit the Stormbreaker, the DDT. Not the DDT, the powerbomb. You knew what I meant. She hit a big finish and only got a 2. And you just see Toni Storm look like she's about to well up and just start kicking at the prone body of Kaylee Ray. What all transpired was that Toni Storm would end up falling to the outside. Kaylee Ray came off the top. Oh God, Kaylee Ray doing a senton off the top nearly didn't get her head up in time. I genuinely got nervous for her at that point. Managed to get her head up. She was okay, but she wiped out Toni Storm, chucked her in the ring, gave her 2 gory bombs, 1 springboarded off the ropes, a bit like, you know how Tully Blanchard used to do that suplex? Bit like that. 2 of them, bang, 1, 2, 3. Brand new women's champion in NXT UK. Excellent. Giving this a B+. I loved it. I loved it. But my gosh, the bar is so high tonight for this show. But it was still a great match. It still told a great story. I think this is part of a bigger book that we are seeing here. The whole idea of Toni Storm not quite being on her game tonight. I think they'll have another match down the road where Toni Storm is focused and strong and they go at it again and it feels more like a Toni Storm match next time. So I think this is part of a longer game, but it still gets a B+. An emotional roller coaster, if you will. Talking of emotional roller coasters, main event. Tyler Bate, Volta for the WWE UK Championship. When you realise you are 2 hours into what is normally a 3-hour show and the main event is about to start, you know this is going the distance. And wow, did this go the distance? Volta is a phenomenal champion. He's got the presence of Brock Lesnar, but he's got an air of beatability about him that Brock Lesnar doesn't have, which suspends your disbelief. And it suspended the disbelief of everybody for 3/4 of an hour as he took on Tyler Bate in what I genuinely believe is the greatest match of Tyler Bate's career. This was like 3 matches rolled up in one. This because it's the story that sort of ties it all together was Tyler Bate who just took everything from Volta, but just kept getting up, kept standing up, just kept standing up to him. And there were a few occasions when big, strong boy was able to lift Volta. And every time he did, you thought, whoa, well, that's it. That's it. We saw some incredible suplexes, one off the apron to the outside, one off the top rope, and each time you thought that's going to be it, and it wasn't it. So Tyler Bate just kept on getting nearly there and nearly there and nearly there. I thought the crowd really added to this as well, and the crowd all night have been brilliant, but during this match, about halfway through, they started chanting, "Please don't take me home." And and even talking about it now, it gave me goosebumps. It gave me goosebumps because that is if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like if English football had a fight forever chant, it would be "Please don't take me home," which is why it felt so special, just being sung out by the crowd in Wales. Oh my days, it was incredible. And I just thinking about it now, it still blows my mind a little bit. Yeah, the crowd were amazing. I'd love to sit here and go through blow by blow this entire match for you, but I don't think it'll do it justice. Like, that match is on the WWE network right now for you to watch. And I think this questionable idiot that talks quite loud and wears a silly tie, going through move by move, probably one of the greatest title matches that I've ever seen, doesn't do it justice. I think you need to experience it with your own eyes. Obviously, I'm about to tell you how it ended and what happened next, but even when I do, go and watch it. Go and watch it. It's even the most jaded wrestling fan, and there'll be some in the comments going, "Oh, it wasn't that good wrestling." And I know it's cool to hate wrestling. I know it's cool to hate wrestling, but you know what? I don't. I love it, and this was amazing, and you should go and watch it. Anyway, enough about that. Finish came, and it lit the room up. I've never seen a finish like it. Volta went for a powerbomb, covered Tyler Bate. After 40 plus minutes, Tyler Bate kicks out at 1. and the crowd go mental. Like the crowd come alive. Start chanting for Tyler Bate, and as they're getting into this rousing chant for Tyler Bate, Walter bounces off the ropes, hits a Stan Hansen lariat, 1, 2, 3, it's done. Just like that. And just, you can almost see, it's almost tangible. You see the air sucked out of the room as that happens. 1, 2, 3, Walter wins the match. But at no point do you feel cheated because you just watched 40 plus minutes of amazing action. You won't be surprised when I tell you, A+. This is an A+. What a way to round off what has been an amazing show. This was just unreal. Epic is used too often now. I'd say biblical. This felt biblical. It really did. NXT UK TakeOver for me was easily an A+. There was so much wrestling this weekend that everybody was talking about. AEW All Out. You had Royal Quest in London. You had the wedding that I emceed, and it went very well. Thanks for asking. But I think a lot of people went into this thinking sort of NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff will just be there. It'll just be in amongst it. I think it was the best show of the weekend. Don't even at me. A+ to NXT UK TakeOver. Yaki da, bloody daki ya. Love you, bye.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow Cultaholic on Twitter @Cultaholic. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.